tattooing Mike was tight. Like I've known him forever. In the episode I talk about that, like I go over, I'm like, I've held on this fool since I was young, and it's the first episode, so it's kind of important to like have the homie on there, somebody that I was like pretty familiar with. We were hanging out a lot at that time, like dude, getting into trouble, just kicking it. And he was in the military, and he was in Hawaii for a minute, so that's a big part of the reason why he got the piece, because it was like near and dear to him. He's been overseas like during the war and stuff, so I think like having the paradise and having the tribal thing, it's like kind of coincides with what he did. So it's kind of funny like watching and like documenting stuff, because this is like a minute ago now, but like this is the first episode, and you kind of see like I kind of was like worried and stuff. I'm like unsure, I don't really even know, and I think that was kind of the thing going in. I was like, okay, we're gonna finally do this, but I don't know what it is that's happening so much. There was a goal, but I didn't really understand what it was. I couldn't really wrap my head around like what it meant to document me doing this stuff, or like that it would be important to somebody else like Mike if they were to go back and look at it, or like relive that moment, like it just felt like, okay, like I don't like talking about something and then not doing it, like even if it takes forever to get it done. Like it took us like 7 years to actually like lock in and get it done, but we had tried it once when I first started tattooing when I was 18, and then we tried it again when I was like 21, and then we just had these little spurts. But this was the first time we were like, you know what, we're committing to this, we're gonna do this either every month or every other month. So I think that was I was thinking more of that, like, oh, I'm just gonna finally do it, not like thinking about, oh, I need to document what I'm doing. Is just like, we've been talking about this and we missed our opportunity when we were in a house full of like audio students and graphic design students and everything. So now it's like we're still linking up, we better take advantage of it. I was like, ooh, I gotta put on a show, but now I think that that's more important, to put that out there. If I am going to be documenting, it should be as truthful as possible. So I think towards the later episodes, you kind of get a feel for it a little bit more. But yeah, that first episode, I think it was a little doctored feeling. I wasn't really getting in it too much because I was afraid of that. And like now I'm kind of like thinking back on like what was actually going on in my life. Like it might have been nice to like touch on some of the stuff like outside the shop a little bit, some of the anxieties and some of the things that come along with what we're doing, even when you're documenting like the stressful parts that maybe that's more relatable than somebody just being like, oh, I brush my teeth, I also floss. It's like, all right, bro, like we get it, you don't floss. I feel like I felt more comfortable when I'm tattooing and I had the camera on me than like when I didn't have the machine in my hand, which could just be a bunch of other stuff, like I'm kind of like, I'll be kicking back, and then when I'm tattooing, like I'll just be jabber jawing like crazy. So I think maybe that's just like, that's my little safety blanket, is the tattoo machine. So I like it when people watch me tattoo, like even at conventions, like if people pile up, like I'm more motivated and I'm like moving quicker, making better decisions. But yeah, I don't know, when I have the machine in my hand, I feel like a lot more safe than when I don't. Like right now, for instance, I'm all the special part of the production, I think, was getting to collaborate with Chad and finally getting to get some like a little video that we'd been hyping it up a little bit. We shot in a bunch of locations to make these trailers, and people were like, what's going on, what is this, and then finally having an end product and seeing it, and then having people engage in it, that was really special. And like having people be like, oh, like you did it, like you finally did it, like you, and like we barely even started, we didn't do nothing yet, but it was super rewarding to think like, oh, okay, we got the ball rolling, and we worked together, and it seemed pretty organic, and it seemed really smooth. It didn't seem stressful. It felt natural. And then getting to tattoo Mike was even better because he's like one of my best friends, you know, he's like a brother to me. So having him on the first one was very important. And I know the tattoo meant a lot to him too. So having the camera on you, you gotta really make sure you don't mess up or like make it even more special. So I think the tattoo came out really nice. I'm not even like a really big fan of like tribal tattoos, but those ones that I did on him that are in that style, like they came out pretty cool. And like he made me step out of my box to do it, you know, like usually I'm just doing only portraits, but I'm like instilling design, and it's a landscape, so there's like a bunch of different elements. So being able to do something for him is dope, because he's done a lot for me, especially with the shop. Like he's helped out a grip, so if anybody deserves it, he's definitely one of the top 5 dead or alive.